I was like, oh shit, we're supposed to be in the StreamYard. That's when I realized it.
Sorry about that, man. I should have followed up.
Nah, you all good. I mean, shoot, I should have remembered that since we didn't do it on Tuesday, that we was doing it today in the StreamYard. So no, it's all good. What's the word?
I was just trying to figure out which one of these monitors you sound better coming through.
All right.
My whatchamacallit, my speakers are fucked, or my what's it called? My desktop tower where the speaker plug goes into is fucked. I'm not sure which. But everything's coming out like I blew out my speakers, you know?
Oh man.
That type shit.
I hate that shit. That's always the worst.
Yeah. Well, I can't hear that well as it is. And then, I'm just like, wait, what?
So I gotta make sure I speak up then.
Well, no, you're good now. I'm on the right. I mean, it could be better, but it is. Yeah. You're good now. The speakers itself that are still attached will come in all garbly, and that's weird. But it's like my computer will auto attach itself to one of my speakers, and it always chooses the shit one for some reason.
That's how technology always is. It's like, oh yeah, I'll choose the less efficient thing, even though I'm supposed to be a bit more efficient.
Convenient to a point.
Exactly. So yeah, man. Should what's the word, man? I was looking at the website and stuff like that. It's coming together very nicely. Definitely about how that's coming together for sure.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I have gotten caught up on a lot of my work, and so I've been kind of trying to slush through the backlog of free websites I have to build, or not have to build, but I'm building for people, and so I knocked yours out. I'm in the middle of Grand River Analytics, so I can knock that out for Matt, and then I'm back to Imperial KC to finish that up. So I've got 3 websites that are all almost done. Yours is one of them. And anyways, I'm just trying to get them off my plate, because then mentally it frees me up more. I'm not like, oh, I promised so-and-so this website 6 months ago, 8 months ago, I should give it to them. I mean, it's a free website, but at the same time, I'm like, people still want it in a timely manner.
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely know what you mean, especially when it's when you're trying to help a lot of people too, and then you have obligations that come along the way, obviously, to run the business and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's all in a good day's work, as you say.
It's that tug of war. It pulls you in every direction, right?
Exactly. Just always just trying to figure out a way to balance it out. But that's why, luckily, like you said, we got a great assistant in ChatGPT and AI and stuff like that. Because just imagine trying to do some of the project work that you had to do without AI before. It's not to say that it's a crutch, but it's that shit makes things.
Well, that's a perfect example. So last week, I don't have a deposit from this client yet. I don't have the contract signed. We've been doing all this work pro bono up until this point. Yeah. So I'm trying to advance it forward. So I was like, okay, I'll get your 1-page landing page done beforehand, so you can see some of our work and what we do and position you, right? So I built this last Friday, and I was pretty happy with how it came out, right? But without ChatGPT, it wouldn't, all this copy would just say random Latin gibberish. But now, at least I'm giving the client much closer to what their real final product would be. And I have to spend almost no time at all to write these paragraphs, because normally that would be a huge pain. But ChatGPT helped me with all of these parts, and ultimately, I think it came out really clean as a result.
Yeah, no, that's a real clean setup right there. And like you said, it's specifically for people like yourself that take on multiple clients and stuff like that, for those little tedious things of filling in the website, plugging in those little words and paragraphs and stuff like that. That stuff can add up amongst multiple clients, and especially like you say, if you're trying to scale, you can't be spending 2 hours typing and making sure that this is the right. No, it's
you're hiring me to build a website, not write your copy for you. But that being said, how you lay out the copy and how the copy is used it's just as important to building the website and the layout as what it says. So you kind of like, it's exactly that though. I don't want to spend 2 hours writing, you know, writing I'm great at or I'm good at or like I enjoy, but like every skill or task you have to apply yourself in takes time, especially creative tasks. It takes energy that like, you know, slows you down from doing everything else, so to speak. And like the core value I add isn't the copywriting most of the time.
Yeah.
So, just being able to use ChatGPT to get something halfway decent and let people use it and put in their own words from there is always just better. And then same with the images, right?
Yeah.
Like, God, at least I can give people the essence of what they want. And if it's not good enough, great. Let's go hire a photographer, go buy the right stock imagery that is. But we didn't have to spend money to get the concept going, get the
Exactly.
idea of it.
Which
Because
can take
like this is where I'm at with Matt's
forever.
website. We're not there yet, exactly. But I just got the services page linked up. It's Playhouse's services page with Matt's service titles.
Okay.
And then his about page is this LinkedIn template that I built.
Yeah.
But the real problem is that
That looks nice.
his Tamra, his wife, is also a member of the company. So I have to go back to the homepage and make this more of a company and less of a person.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I
But
got
what's
you.
nice is on every page you're on, you hit the contact button, it brings you down to the bottom. You hit the book button, gives you your pop-up book meeting. And we reuse some of those parts, right?
Yeah.
We got to get your calendar replaced in here instead of mine so people can book directly with you.
Yeah.
And then you go to learn more. You've got your LinkedIn bio page.
Oh, that looks nice.
I've
It
got
looks real
three of the 4 collections done. So you go here, you see
damn.
the digital twins collection.
That's clean, man.
You go to the Nimbus Ridge collection. We just need to upload the rest. But yeah, then you click in them like we said last time. You just take right there. And then I have a shop page saved for it. I also did the contact us thing, so it goes down here. And then the schedule a meeting also works as a pop-up up there.
Okay.
And then I have it as a disappearing header for you on the homepage.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it looks, like I said, it looks great, to be honest. Like I said, I mean, it's just nice to have, like I said, a nice website, and then now, like I said, people can be able to send messages, which I need to even start using my DIB Web3 domain now that I bought it. I mean, what's the point? What I mean? Like, I might as well start using it here soon. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that because, because now, like I said, I mean, that's definitely something I need to start doing is using my own domain, but I'll get there slowly but surely. Now that everybody probably knows dash in between and Gmail or whatever, it's like, all right, got to figure out a way to, which works out for my email list because then I can be like, hey, this is my new email, send it out to basically, which is another thing I was going to talk about is that to get an email list, I completely forgot, like, bro, I'm about to just take like all the old business cards that I've ever gotten from people. I'm about to just sit down one of these days and then just take all the emails and just put it all into a, create me an email list. Because I don't have, I need to get like a MailChimp or some shit.
Oh, yeah. So one, buy Beehive, not MailChimp. And I'll give you a referral link. But
okay, cool.
So this is started by the guy who started the Morning Brew newsletter. Well, he was like employee number 3 or 4 for them, but he built all of their technology stack. So the tech stack he built to grow Morning Brew, he left and is building this email newsletter company to do that.
Okay.
He's a smart dude. His name is Tyler. I'm forgetting his last name right now, but his name's Tyler. Tyler Dank. Tyler Dank. That's his name.
Dank.
Right? But he's doing a lot of the Web3 things right as a Web2 company. So Beehive's going to be well positioned for Web3. There's a lot of Web3 newsletters and stuff. Anyways, I kind of view them as a competitor to Playhouse on some level, but they build email software. I build marketing advertising software for whatever. There's a lot of complements that go there. That being said, I'm not going to be building an email marketing platform anytime soon, and theirs is one of the best. And so I've been using it to write behind the scenes newsletters, basically,
Yeah.
for the company. And then these are the kind of the stats they show you, and it's got a pretty robust, email website designer building tool.
Oh wow.
It's pretty easy to use.
So
So
you just pop your stuff in there and then you just
yeah,
uh,
and it's $30 a month for the cheap version.
oh, that's not bad.
Which the cheap version of MailChimp's like $100 a month.
Huh? To send emails? Damn.
Yeah, MailChimp is not for entry level companies anymore. That's for sure.
Really?
Beehive is great if you're going to be building a community and you're going to be pushing content and not necessarily marketing,
Yeah.
which is what I think you're talking about doing. So this is why I would suggest them. But you can create multiple newsletters if you go up to the higher expensive levels and stuff. And so, we used to write culture whore, right? Or
Yeah.
like that's like Playhouse's one of Playhouse's old things that we did.
Yep.
Let me get the drop down to show up. But Culture Whore was our newsletter that we were writing in the last bull cycle from like September 2021 to, July of 2022. So right as I was moving to Kansas City, basically. And so I was just going to transition it over to Beehive, and we were about to start writing them from there, and we never did. And so I'm trying to bring it back under the new branding of Heart and Soul instead of Culture Whore, just to be like a little bit more friendly, a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more welcoming this time around.
Would you do, because Heart and Soul sounds like a good ass. That would be a dope NFT project specifically for Kansas City, kind of like what you're talking about with the Heartland project. Basically, it would be like the Heart and Soul project, and then now maybe that's what we should do. Maybe we should come up with some images. Let's go to ChatGPT, come up with some images, some prompts for a Heart and Soul project to basically be a art project on Solana based in Kansas City or in the Midwest. So kind of like that Heartland, you kind of get what I'm going at?
Yeah.
Because Heart and Soul is like, one, it could be like for that artist. So basically it can be like that artist challenge. I know we talked about that, doing that artist challenge kind of thing. But then now it's like you get a Heart and Soul and then now it's like a Heart and Soul awards. Maybe now it's like, hey, you get one of these, like being voted best in the community or whatever. You know what I mean? That whole kind of space. It's just like, I never even thought about it. And then now it's a Solana based NFT project. You know what I'm saying? And then people are going to be like, Heart and Soul. Oh, wow. And then now it's like, oh, dang. Because then now it's like you could have like different cool, like it would be cool if you could have like cool little hearts and soul, and then just do a different type of little soul Solana emblem, and then just have that on. It'll just be the same thing over and over, but then now you just have different variations of hearts. So like
that'd be really cool. The original logo I did make with I think a combination of ChatGPT and Discord at the time. I used the logo last year for the Heartland KC conference, the Heartland Web3 KC conference. So this logo is the original idea for the Heart and Soul brand. And the idea was basically like, I started with like GM Heartland as like a video series that I wanted to do every morning, where I would like highlight 3 pieces of news, one from around the world, one from the US, and one from here in the Heartland, right? Or Heartland was the middle, Kansas City was the last one. I forget which, but it's been playing around with this concept of Kansas City is the heart of the Heartland. We've got, the KC Hearts project. There's also the literal iconic heart with the KC, letters inside of it. There's so much that could be done around this. And then Maddie works in cardiology and electrophysiology and loves to paint hearts, literally anatomical hearts. So there's just so much heart symbolism and iconic whatever that's, all around me. So it's just like that's why I was kind of pushing for it. But yeah, so this is supposed to be a daily newsletter at the start. We could use it to highlight artists and then use it to expand out to an NFT collection for sure. And I've got that Heartland DAO website we own already. And there's a lot of things that we could be well positioned to do already with this. But do you want to see what ChatGPT had to say?
Yes, and I just came up with an idea as you were just saying this. What if we put not only artist information, but then now, what if we put like information about like cardiology information, like interesting facts about how you can help your heart rate and all these other, because like that's a thing that is pretty prevalent. And then now it's like it's the Heart and Soul project, and then now these different types that information goes out to people. It's like, hey, you can, if you do X amount of, it's like ChatGPT generated info. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you do 10 jumping jacks a day, you'd get, this is how much better your heart would be. If you did, you know what I'm saying? Those different type of like facts to where people be like, oh, I like these little blurbs or newsletters about the heart. And then now it's heart and soul. So then now you'd have art stuff, maybe some fun facts. And then now maybe like an event or something like that, if you get what I mean.
100%. Where I was started Googling this because of what you were talking about, just so you know.
Okay.
So my thought was like, okay, you were talking about how this affects the body for real. So I was thinking, okay, like there's the intangible, the tangible, and like the actionable or whatever.
Yeah.
And logos, ethos, pathos. Basically, where I was going with it is like we should just use different sections of the newsletter where like one section could be like personal development, and that's where the heart health stuff would be.
Yeah.
One could be like business development, and the other one could be community development, right? And so those are the different sections.
So it's going to always be 3 parts. Yep.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I'm a big like rule of threes person. Like, like I love the number 3. There's some weird shit going on with it, but I do think that like 3 is a very good number for things.
That was my number in college.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. That was my number in my last year in college. But yeah, no, for sure, I definitely think that would be dope because like having that 3 parts to where it's like the top one would be like something health related. The next one is like personal development or like you said, business entrepreneurial related, and then now the last one, like you said, community or in this case possibly arts or music or different things like that. Community
and
based.
we can use it as sort of like an open forum where we're like either giving advice or potentially we're just like opinion, like we have an opinion, or hey, we want to highlight like someone like a local artist or a local business. And that's kind of what we did in Culture Horror originally too. Like that's kind of what that was more or less about.
Yeah. But with Heart and Soul, people can actually, invite their parents on there and be like, yeah, get on the Heart and Soul email, not the, hey, you culture whores. It's not the best.
Yeah, people don't like identifying as whores.
Yeah, especially when it's not, even when it's spelled differently.
Yeah, and it stands for higher order reader. Because you're reading between the lines, so to speak.
I didn't even know that. Higher order reader, huh?
You're not just taking the words at face value. You're delving with the meaning of what they're really talking about behind the basic way to describe it.
Huh? Maybe that's something that might have to just come back alive later on. Because once you have the ability to like be like, hey, this is what it is. If you put that on the right celebrity or the right person, or like put it out in the right branding way, people will eat that up in matter of shirts, hoodies, hashtags.
Everything's always been we just don't have enough money to get to the right people who would actually like our shit.
Yeah. So, it's not like I said, it's not the fact it's not cool. It's just the fact that we just don't have the right connections, or in this case, like you said, the resources in that case to get in contact with those people.
But we're building the infrastructure to address that issue. Like we're creating content literally live right now, and like
exactly
this, and it's not detracting from me getting my work done, and it's not detracting from building the business. It's like this is how you build in public. We're actually fucking doing it. Like I tried to do this 3 years ago, and it was so much harder.
Yeah, and
And
it's just like you said, you're doing it by yourself, so it's like shit. Like you just feel like you're in an echo chamber, and then on top of the fact that you do this into an echo chamber that is fully silent, if you're just throwing your stuff on YouTube or whatever, and then you're like, "Am I crazy?" But sure, you can go ahead and get into the what AI sent to us.
well, no, I mean, but it's exactly that. You're screaming into the void, like, "Oh my god, I'm really good at talking to brick walls."
Yeah,
You know,
and then it makes it once you're able to talk to a person, it's like, "Oh my god, this is so easy."
you could say stuff back to me. Oh my god, this is so much better.
It's like trying to play tennis by yourself.
Have you ever played tennis at a wall?
It's terrible.
Yeah,
It's
I
terrible.
mean, it's more fun than playing without the wall. So
Exactly.
you
So
know,
it's like racquetball.
just gonna serve balls to the other side of the court. Nice, it was in. Nice, I hit it in again. Good, I hit it. I'm like, that's not the type of practice I do.
No,
But
exactly, man.
um, I said, help us put together a rough outline and a mission paper for an NFT art project called Heart and Soul, an art project built on the Solana blockchain to support artists around Kansas City and across the heartland, USA, the spaces in between, and countries around the world.
Ooh,
So,
that's a good prompt.
said, so create a rough outline for the mission for Heart and Soul, blah, 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 blah. Here's a draft to get you started. So, some good objectives.
Yeah, that would probably go in our communities section.
Benefits. All right, here's the structure. This is the stuff that probably is relevant to the conversation for us right now.
Okay.
So it says utilize the Solana blockchain for efficiency, lower transaction costs, making it more accessible. Great. We need to curate artists to put on this platform that we're building.
We got all of our.
So we should determine selection criteria so that we can make it fair to determine who gets to be featured in an article and then gets their stuff featured on a website. And maybe they get a free UniPro web page that connects to their NFTs.
Sounds like a good
Like there's a
plan.
lot of stuff we could do, I think.
Yep. You
So
can do
it
it
says
as
education.
kind of like the art challenge that we were talking about. I know that we mentioned there was in the DAO, we could basically do the art challenge as the heart and soul challenge.
Yeah, that would really be cool.
Because then now it's like we just basically would just take the brunt of having to do it. And then basically what we would say is this is a cash, or in this case, a cash or Solana prize, whichever one. And then now we say, all right, we want, maybe we'll have them draw, everybody's going to do their best rendition of an art of a heart. So whatever, it can be a futuristic art, whatever it is. So then now we get a whole bunch of different arts. And then now what we do is we have the community choose the best hearts. So then now those ones, so then now what we can have is we can have maybe like a top 3. All 3 get a website.
Nice.
Top 1 gets a cash prize or a Solana prize or whatever prize we decide to give. Second one maybe gets like a smaller amount or something like that. And then the third one just gets their art put on their whole website and different things like that. And basically we'll help them with like an NFT project and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's a good gameplay, good strategy. And then this part here, sections 3 and 4, is another thing we've talked about before, about like you and I should be putting on some sort of like slideshow presentation workshop for people where we can, come in, educate them on a couple of different pieces about blockchain and their business and why they should care. And then, that becomes a way to also plug the artwork and be like, oh, this is one of the cool ways we're helping to support non-traditional tech businesses utilize the blockchain. And also we're doing, all the stuff that we're talking about.
Heck yeah. Yeah, we can definitely do that for sure. Because then now it's easy, can be done almost anywhere, to be honest. And then now it's like you can have the build up, like you can be like, hey, just all we need is just maybe a landing page for people to be able to submit their art pieces.
And yeah, so we would need that type of stuff. But going back to the prize side of things is like, how we've been talking about doing print on demand a little bit, even with your website. That's why I added the shop section to it.
Oh, yeah.
When we give away these websites to the winners, we can help them start to mint their artwork as NFTs, then take that NFT IP, determine what products from print on demand can feature that artwork.
Yeah.
And then add them to the storefront on the website we've built for them. And then utilize the NFT royalty model to connect the sales of those physical products featuring the IP as a rev share agreement to the NFTs we produce for them.
And then with the added Playhouse resources, now you can also have people from outside of Kansas City that can now be able to see the website and other things through digital ads as well too.
100%. And we're writing that newsletter, Heart and Soul. The Heart and Soul website will have a gallery with all the artists we've ever featured on it, linking back to these websites that we've produced. It will probably also have a storefront where we can pull all their print and demand products and all their other products into the platform to resell it for them. And we get a commission on it, all of these things.
Yeah. No, I think that this might even be project number 2 because I think that'd be a dope project for World Cup specifically.
Well, the good news is I wrote a business plan for this particular business three years ago. This was the original Playhouse.
Well, look at that.
There's that. And then where's the business plan? Yeah, there it is. So we were never sure how we pronounced it exactly, whether it was Bogue, like bogus, and Vogue, or Bouge, like bougie. But anyways, this is a fucking 40-page paper I wrote.
Holy shit.
This is before ChatGPT. So
that's what I was just about to say. Is like you said 3 years ago, so I know this is before. So you wrote all this?
Yeah, I wrote all of this myself.
And now, literally, if you really wanted to, you could take that and be like, hey, ChatGPT, condense this down to a short 8-slide deck that would interest investors. And that shit would pop it out in fucking 10 seconds.
Probably. You can see, I did some good market research. I was talking about Rarible, the number of daily active users they had, compared that to OpenSea and to this other smaller platform I found, Delart. And then I talked about the beachhead market was basically trying to help graphic designers. And then you can see Snob, when Snob basically, before it became a music discovery app, it was basically Tumblr for artwork, but NFT artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then anyways, here's my uncle's company. He's building Playhouse right now. I was at one point talking to an art gallery in Metro Detroit, like a Sotheby's, but obviously way smaller because Detroit isn't New York. But that I was talking with them and basically laid out everything that's in the business model canvas. Like this is a whole business model canvas right here in words.
Damn.
So, and then you come down here. I did some other, I have a thesis in here, which became our white paper. I talked about the work that we've done to date, of course. What bothers me so much is our business plan and strategy and literally everything really hasn't changed. The customers we're going after has changed.
Yeah.
But the product and the plan and everything is literally the exact same as I wrote it. The market opportunity, nothing's really changed in 3 years.
Man.
I mean, a lot of things have changed because people are now talking about digital identity. They now understand how valuable the inputs of raw data are to training models like ChatGPT or to saving money on ad systems. So the conversation's finally there, but it's imagine if someone had literally understood what I was saying 3 years ago, how much further I could be if someone, understood and gave me some freaking cash.
True. Very true. But then at the same time, too, you wouldn't have been able to learn some of the lessons that you learned in this time of this struggle to where you've acquired new skills during that time.
Yeah, you're right. I can be grateful and appreciative for the struggle, too, I guess. Sometimes I hate that part, though.
And that's the thing is it's like the oxymoron of life is that as much as we hate the struggle, it's you gain so much more from the struggle because the fact that you gain the actual experience compared to the theoretical, learning of you could have got a bunch of money at first and then not known how to deal with all the issues that you're currently addressing now with Playhouse. Because like I said, you had to figure it out yourself without the money. The money would have just been a band-aid, and then you would have just came out there and just thrown whatever to just get something out for those investors, compared to now where you actually do the shit.
Yeah, I think that is probably the most accurate assessment of why it's beneficial. Like straight up, like that is the main reason why. I for sure 3 years ago wasn't equipped to handle the money as efficiently or intelligently or responsibly as I would use it now. And it probably has more to do with the fact of like I've made mistakes already. And I'm like, okay, I wouldn't prioritize that as a strategy or an initiative in the future. And now I've built up some of those calluses to have a better sense of when something is a frivolous expense that's not going to move the needle, and when something is measurable and is going to help us either produce more resources that opens us up to another customer base, or advances the customer conversation, or increases the amount of money we can earn from our existing customers, something like that. Like those are probably the new framing that I'm looking through things at more ruthlessly now. Whereas before I would have been more just like, let's build all the parts of the tech stack that I want to build, because like, how cool would it be to have this all done and built? And everything I've learned from like Tech Venture Studio and like the other classes we're in, right? And they're more reminders or refreshers, or like, you know, shaking the tree, like, hey, remember, you need to do this, not that. Like your instincts are telling you this, but best practice says that.
Heck yeah.
So, you know, I think having those solid foundations as reminders as I'm going through these problems and struggles is like, okay, you've done all the research to know what you're supposed to do. You're still inclined to do the wrong thing. But now 3 years later, I say less so, because, you know, I've already had the painful experiences of not following the best advice and practices that we get from books and stuff. So getting the wisdom told to me again, it's like, okay, wait, this makes more sense this time around.
Yeah. So and especially too, and I think one to your advantage, especially too, is that not only did you get that experience, like that hands-on experience, now you've gotten that experience and there's better tools available to you. So that way you're able to, like I said, things like scale now are a lot more easy for you to do now that you have, like I said, ChatGPT and all these things, to like things that you would have had to pay physical people to do. You're able to put together on your own. And that's why we talk about what, as two startups that can't just be putting on employees, this thing is, it allows you to get to a fundable stage because you're able to process a lot of different things.
Absolute game changer, 100%. ChatGPT plus low to no code tools are going to make people like you and I millionaires, billionaires, because we have the drive and the initiative. And now the tooling is at a level where it's accessible to people with ideas. What I will say also is that the last 3 years forced me, because I only got access to ChatGPT like less than a year ago. It's forced me to be far more, it forced me to learn to be a better developer. Long story short is like, I had to go build some calluses and, you know, actually do some work on learning how to use, I mean, they're low code tools that I'm using to build. But like, that being said, now that I have ChatGPT, it's just supercharging the skill set I already have. And it's like, I can do so much more as a result. And like, it's crazy how grateful I am, I would say, to have built had to have drudged through the parts where I didn't have ChatGPT, only because I know it's making me better at it with ChatGPT now, if that makes sense.
And especially I think that, and that's one thing is, like, as people are now getting laid off and stuff like that because of AI, I think it's because many people aren't taking the time to, like what you did, go through the experiential process to gain true skills, so that way tech coming along to either work alongside you is only an addition in this case, where it's just like, as now that you're a well-developed developer, which is funny to say, a well-developed developer, right? But now that you, like you said, you gained those calluses, now you having something like a tool that allows you to now 10 times, like you said, supercharge those skills. It's just like, at the end of the day, it's just fun. It's a fun time to be alive. To be honest, it's like I could not imagine trying to put together the ideas that we've come together and had to come up with, and then having to go back and write, like you said, a 40 page business plan, typing it up, and then hopefully it looks right to an investor and all. Like, I couldn't have done business before this. I'm just going to be 100% honest. Probably I couldn't. Like,
dude, I spent 6 months writing that paper, maybe 8, and that's a lot of time to spend. I basically wrote that paper. I managed one woman's website for not enough money, and I tried to make a podcast happen. It was a terrible business model. I'll tell you that. It was not a good use of time. That business plan has gotten me nowhere.
Man,
it has gotten me everywhere because it forced me to clarify my thoughts, and I have not really deviated much from them. So, like, in terms of conviction, in terms of what my idea is, I'm going to always have that to lean back on. Investors will have maybe swayed me and influenced me a little bit. But when you look at the original business plan to what I've built and what I'm building, I'm pretty much sticking to plan. So I think that for me, it's going to be a cool accountability artifact, so to speak. Because it's just gonna be a window into a moment in time before Playhouse was even Playhouse, and see what the early inklings of what Playhouse will become were. This is all assuming that we're going to be successful, because I don't know, I just have that feeling. But and even if we're not, it's kind of really cool with if I do get Playhouse anywhere, it will still be that artifact that's like, how does it stack up? What was my original vision to where we're at? And I will have
that reference point,
thorough, resource of that.
Yeah, I think it gives you a good
all reference. The investors are basically like eyes glazed over. I wouldn't even read beyond the first 2 pages type of shit.
Yeah, I think it's like you said, it's a peek into a moment in time, especially even particularly before ChatGPT. Because then now you'll start, because I think that's something that's going to be very interesting, is to see how documentation and stuff like that is done throughout history now going on after AI. Because it's like, you're going to see the distinct difference in how papers and books and all these things were written, and the people that are taking the time to actually write it and then now go back over those books or go back over those writings and put in that little nuances to give that human appeal. Those are going to be the differences between those AI written up books and, the people that understand how true writing is. Just like you're doing the same thing with digital identity and digital ads and things like that. You're putting it into the space that, because you actually worked on it at Google before ChatGPT, you have the skills and the callus to understand the back end analog work of it before all these APIs and everything came around. And it was easy to just simply click this place and say, hey, all right, now you have ads from this business. You understood before how to, just like the old phone shit where they used to have to put the shit in the wall or whatever. You understand that inner working, which makes you now with AI that much more, I say, dangerous in this case, but much more resourceful compared to the other person that's like, I just use ChatGPT and I build websites.
Okay. And it really comes back to, like, at the end of the day, there will never be a substitute for your own personal knowledge, because you're only going to be able to get out of ChatGPT a multiplicative of what you can put into it. So you have to go do the reading. You have to go watch the videos. You have to go struggle with the content and the materials and trying to do the things on your own, so that when you come back to ChatGPT, you can be a really tough critic and know what good looks like to tell it to be better. Because that's 90% of what this is. Is like arguing with ChatGPT to be better. Like, sorry, there was a prompt here yesterday that, like, I was super irritated with it. Because it lies to you. It'll lie to you all the time. ChatGPT is like the most annoying employee now. I was like, oh yeah, so please provide me with this. And then it goes, I can't search the web. It won't even go back further because it deleted the original stuff, which is so funny.
Wow. Still laughing my ass off. Since when can you not search the web?
And then it goes and looks at the page. I was like, okay, now redo my original request. Based on the details, here you go. But like, I wish you could see the response right above this. I don't know why it got deleted. But
Sam Altman saw it. That's why. Sam Altman saw
it. Probably. That's so funny if that was the case. But basically, I dropped in this landing page right here, and it used this part, and this part to just assume what was on the page. And then it randomly made up headlines based off of those 3 pieces.
Really?
Yep. And then it did it again later on.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you have to, just like in crypto,
do
your research.
There we go. This is awesome. We're going to do the same process again, this time using this landing page, Ancient Wisdom. Please produce 15, blah, blah, blah. Same tone, reflecting the updated information. It just goes through it, right? I was like, you clearly didn't review the landing page. You offer to produce these headlines. Because you're right. I appreciate the patience. Then it still doesn't do it.
What in the world is going on?
You're still not doing it. Look at this webpage I provide. Anyway, so the main point is you can't use ChatGPT without supervision these days. Like it used to be way more responsible and trustworthy, and now you have to be on top of it a little bit, like a
little kid.
Yeah, like a little kid employee. And you know that they're going to be lazy, and you have to call them out on their laziness. And
that's what we need to call this episode.
Cite their sources and all of these things. And the reason you have to, otherwise they'll lie to you.
Wow. So that's what we need. That's what we need to call. We need to call it Kid GPT. That's what it is.
Dude, you know who the best people at ChatGPT definitely are?
Who?
Sociopaths. Like dark triad people. And the reason is they're master manipulators already. They know how to use communications to manipulate people. If you are good at that, you're great at ChatGPT because ChatGPT doesn't try to resist you.
Makes sense. You can say
it's really fucked up, but that's what it is.
Very true. Damn. So then if you're good at ChatGPT, then what does that mean?
It means you're probably a sociopath or you're on this your spectrum. But it just means you have whatever it is, like a high level of no, it's like a self-centeredness, but like the self-centeredness with an awareness that doesn't make sense for how self-centered you are. Like that's the sociopathology level we're talking about.
Holy shit.
Where you've gone so far deep the rabbit hole on yourself and your whatever that you've come out the other side and see how all of the ways that you've been able to manipulate yourself to be how you want to be, you can reverse engineer and apply to other people.
Damn. When you put it like that, it's an interesting concept.
Yeah. I mean, but like when you pair that with, greed and like unrestricted ambition and like a sense of self-righteousness, that's where you really have the problem with the dark triad, because then you believe that your shit doesn't stink and you can do no bad and do no evil while being aware and manipulating people. And it's that blindsidedness to the ego that is the problem or downfall of most people, which is also how I view Sam Altman. So,
nah, it makes sense because, like you said, he's probably gone down that, right? Because he's a very knowledgeable person, so he's gone down the rabbit hole, like you said, come out the other side, understands that he's ahead of a lot of people,
but he doesn't think he can do any wrong, or I'm sure, like on some level, he's aware that he could do wrong. But he acts and operates and is building things in a way that makes it feel like he's infallible.
Very true.
So, and he just comes from a woke school of thought that isn't critical enough, from my perspective, that doesn't take genuine criticism that is valid and incorporate it into their ideology. They'd rather discard the conversation and not have it, rather than try to figure out how do I update my ideology to accommodate for this edge case.
Yeah, especially when it comes to facts.
Right. And it's like facts, unfortunately for partisanship, don't always lay the way that we want them to, and they often tell multiple stories. And that's because when it comes to data, very few things in reality fit a perfect idealized model. Most people break models or molds. So you might have this perfect example of how things go, but in 0% of cases does it ever actually go that way. It's just that when you look at all of the potential variations and outcomes, they converge along the model, but each individual doesn't comply with the model. Very rarely do they comply with the model. So it's like you're defining a box in a window, but most people are outside of the window, but look like they're inside of it.
Just another
And
day
that's
in the
AI too. I mean, that's basically overfitting and underfitting. Like that's the challenge of, building models, so to speak. But the problem is the average person in the public who doesn't work with data and stats and, know these things as intuitively or as deeply as it feels like I do at this point, you know, they'll hear stats, treat it as fact, and more importantly, treat the narrative that came with the stat as fact. And the beauty is like narratives are hypotheses, reasons we give for why the data is saying what they're saying. But it's just a way to convey the idea. It's not real necessarily. And it's not fact, even though the data point itself is a fact. The story around the data point is what's not fact.
Yeah, because basically, I mean, it's just no different from like when people try to. I always find it interesting when people try to do like trading predictions and it's like trend lines. It's like you have a 99% chance of it doing everything else besides that thing that you chose. The moment you chose or said it's supposed to do that, it's basically a 99% chance it's going to go everywhere else except for where you said. Now, if it does go where you said, that's where you're right per se, but you really got lucky, to be honest.
100%. You were directionally right for sure. Like there's no doubt you're directionally correct, but in terms of timing, you're probably lucky. For sure in that case. And like
when crypto people try to do price predictions, it's like the chances of you guessing it's going to be right. It's like you're missing on so many factors. You're not paying attention to these certain things. Shit, nobody predicted FTX dropping the way it did, and what's his name, basically holding all those Solana coins, which brought it all down, and now it's right back up because the technicals all stayed the same. Which shout out to Solana up to what is it 130, I think, something like that.
Yeah, 130 today. We're chucking along. I'm above my DCA finally. More or less.
I seen Bonk was up like 50-something% or something like that. I was like, I know Connor's hype about Bonk. All the meme coins is going crazy.
I have a 20x return on Bonk right now.
20x return on Bonk.
Yeah. I bet $50 in November, and that $50 is now over 1,000.
What?
Yeah.
What? See,
yeah.
What's Bonk at now?
So you might like people can't predict the future price point. I can't predict the number, but I can predict like relative range where it'll be. Like
you said, directionally right. Just like you said, It's like it may not 100x, but if it hits this certain number and I have this amount, I should have X amount. And that's like, I think that's the thing about crypto is that for the first time you can get a fucking plan and be like, okay, if I put $50 today and it goes to this amount, how much will I have?
Here's my strategy. I said Solana is not going to be peaking or bumping until summer of 2024, right? I want to start looking for meme coins and altcoins on the Solana ecosystem that are, that I believe have good enough projects or are funny enough memes to be relevant next summer, right? That's basically what I bought. And then my only rule is, every time there's a movement to the upside, if it's larger than 20%, then I take 20% profits. And, basically once it crashes down again, I try to buy back in with those profits. Yeah. And I've been very unsuccessful with that historically with everything. except for Bonk. Bonk, I am having like my athlete performance of trading and swing trading right now. And I don't want to jinx it or anything because I'm playing this very well and I'm excited about it. But I was in Bonk, then it mooned at the end of November, early December. That was when I went from 50 to 500, my first 10x. And I pulled $400 profit out at the time. So then I only had, $100 in for the last, 2 months basically. And then a week or two ago, I was like, oh, Bonk's relatively back down to its baseline where it was when it crashed post original surge in November. So I'm like, I can basically re-enter at that point when I took profits. And so I put what I do? I put $100 in this time. No, I put $250 in this time. So I put I'm only up 150 out of that, but I put that back in, and then it went to because I pulled out the last 100 at some other point, so I was fresh even with Bonk 250 last week, and it went up to 500 or 600 this morning. And so I pulled out the scrape, put it back on the top, and I left with just $200, and it's already back above 300. So yeah, I'm at a 20x return on Bonk at this point, and I don't have it maturing until this summertime. So I'm gonna be holding reasonably large bags until then, and every pullback try to put back in what I pulled out or something like that. And for this one, it's working. I'm also getting lucky on Solana Corn. Not as lucky as I'm getting on Bonk, but I'm playing it about as close as I could. I used car, also winning on used car. Milk, I have fumbled the bag with milk. I think I'm back even at this point. But there's $150 in this coin, and I'm even at the moment. And there's probably 2 or 3 days left for me to make money or to exit and not lose money from my perspective.
Yeah.
Because milk is the Sydney Sweeney token. And the dev behind it is a jabroni, and no one has faith in the project or whatever. And so I like Sydney Sweeney as a meme. I think she's culturally relevant, and the milk name is hilarious. But I just it's probably not going anywhere. And if I'm going to have a good exit, it's going to be this Saturday night when she's live on Saturday night. And the more that I can try to drop tweets saying that Sydney Sweeney is going to talk about milk like Elon Musk talked about Doge a couple years ago, I'm hoping we get a similar effect where I can make a little money off it. But
you should say something like, if we see any type of milk or milk is mentioned at all in SNL, we know that's we're going to the moon.
100%.
Any milk, the word, a picture, I don't give a shit. Anything milk.
Yeah, we need to be milk hunting on Saturday night.
Milk hunting.
All right, man. I gotta hop off. We got a meeting to run to. This is a fun episode, a little irreverent today, but that's always good,
Hey, that's why when you get to do what you want to do, we can have episodes like this. And like I said, we covered, the AI stuff, and people got to see some interesting things. And I think the Heart and Soul project sounds like something that can definitely be a dope challenge for sure.
I think it's real next. I think the real next steps are here. I think I agree with you. It works well with the KC Futures DAO's potential grant project. So I'm just going to work on launching the newsletter in the short term and start building up cadence on just pushing out content on a regular basis.
Yeah.
If we get further along with KC Futures and can actually do that grant, then we should launch it then. I don't have enough money to take on more projects. Kind of how I feel.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. That's why I say is that because I know that we mentioned with Jim, we're talking about that. I think that maybe we talk to him and see how KC Digital Drive can either sponsor this and like you said, pay Playhouse to make sure to get that stuff, and then we can discuss that kind of thing.
Yeah, if we could get a spot that would make a huge difference. I don't know how we could this should be an ongoing conversation because we for sure have something here. But
what I would say is maybe put together a possible scope for how much that would cost for you to do that, and then now we can basically bring that as a art challenge that they were talking about putting together.
Sweet. I might talk about I'm talking about building an NFT project for Playhouse right now with David. So I may just like drag my feet on that a little longer and wait till I have a proposal from him about what it's going to cost to do my NFT collection. And then I'll base my assumptions for our NFT collection off of that, just because David gives reasonable, fair pricing. So it'll probably be a good bellwether of how much it would actually cost to do the art, the building the NFT side of the project.
Okay. No, that sounds dope.
Cool.
All right, bro.
Well, I won't be in class later today, so good luck on your pitch. Crush it.
Oh yeah, shit. We're pitching today. Damn. Shit. I gotta go prep for that, man.
Well, sorry. Well, I'm glad I gave you a heads up now. Then
I know I would have just showed up with my backpack or something like, oh, what are we doing? Are we pitch? Oh shoot. Dude, hold on. Let me chat GPT my pitch real quick.
Yeah, Michelle, who's going to be running the pitch class, is really, really critical and not super nice in terms of like giving her feedback and advice, but it's really, really good criticism and really, really good advice. So, and she's a wonderful lady to meet and follow up with after the fact, but very intimidating to get grilled by her. That's for sure.
I look forward to it. That's how you get your project nice and good.
100%. Just giving you a heads up because she is one of the more of a hard asses than I've come up against, to be honest. So,
all right, bro.
Peace, dude. Talk later.
See ya.